There's nothing so savage as a man destroying himself. Batman 402. This is as random as they come. The very definition of a random back issue. Here's a comic I've had since I was about 8 years old. From the far-off distant age of 1989, when the world was overrun by the pandemic of Batmania. Hey, pandemic. Annoyingly appropriate all of a sudden. People were shaving bat symbols into the sides of their heads, and seemingly every conceivable product on the planet in every conceivable store had a picture of Batman on it. I wish I could find this hat again. Also, this clock is amazing. Hey, you could also purchase your own Bob Kane. He really shouldn't be bending that movie adaptation comic. I know from experience. I remember news reports of people smashing bus stop windows to steal the Batman poster. The poster. This one. This one. So Batman 402 came in that classic 3-pack of the 80s, I assume as a way to sell excess stock of comics. It would come on a piece of cardboard with 3 comics shrink wrapped to it. The common feeling is that you would see the 2 on the outside and think that there must be something amazing in the middle. Then you'd probably end up getting Batman 401 starring Magpie as the villain in a lame throwaway story where she steals things that are shiny and have a bird theme to them. That costume obviously screams birds. Or bird theme. That was not the first time I saw this comic though. It was shown to me at a friend's house one day. I cannot impress upon you the brain-exploding reaction I had to seeing Batman strangling himself on this cover. It is the sole reason I have an obsession with the evil twin motif to this day. Batman fighting Batman! This comic is gonna be freaking amazing! Don't be fooled, this comic is not great. Batman 402, Ninja Turtles! These things were always so exciting as a kid and worked like absolute dog. Especially comparatively when the Game Boy came out. Batman is prowling the rooftops. Does this qualify as a rooftop? Seeking a human target like a missile. Look at that bullshit. I need a background that's heavily shaded. Fuck it. Let's just trace this picture I found. Anyway, these 2 high-class business people are slumming because they like rock and roll. They stroll through this nasty neighborhood arguing about Velvet Underground, oblivious to their surroundings as a majority of people in the world seem to be. Anyway, as the comic says, they're about to get rolled and rocked. Apparently this thug has a problem with the way the yuppie begs it and smacks him with the wrench across the face. And... what? I'll check the slime bucket for jewelry and stuff, Roach. You handle the babe. Wouldn't you check the girl? And that's kind of generous to hand the girl over to the sidekick by evil villain standards. I mean, unless this blonde guy isn't into that type of thing. Moving on! Knock. Huh?
Batman, what the hell did you do to Spider?
Nothing much. Just broke his neck is all. Beardy springs into action with a knife, but the fight is a short one as he quickly breaks the goon's neck. These ears. No. Get all fired up for the adventure of a lifetime. There are a lot of Nintendo ads in this issue. Soon, Batman's on the Batcycle, returning to Wayne Manor? Does Wayne Manor have a screen door? That thought is suddenly very funny to me. Is there any mansion in the world that has an actual screen door? Not like those ones you have as an inner airlock barrier on a sliding glass door. I mean like a straight up sheet metal or tin screen door that you can lock when it's too windy so it's not banging around. One that has a slice in it from the cat hanging on it and you just never got around to having it replaced. I digress. Batman walks inside and the Batcave looks like crap as he pulls off his mask to reveal a blonde man. Yeesh, that hair. Meanwhile, Batman with terrible ears swings across the city, answering the call of the bat signal. He's confronted not by Commissioner Gordon, but a squad of armed police who don't even give him the option to surrender, and just start shooting at him. Bullets dance around him, and he dances around them. Funny. He isn't in the mood to dance. Oh, Lord. He drives away in the Shriner's mobile and arrives at the home of Commissioner Gordon. They see on the news that Batman is wanted for murder, despite there being no witnesses to the earlier crime. Was the girl killed? They didn't show anything with her, did they? Let's just say that she was the witness. And this up-and-comer gunning for Gordon's job named Barnes is leading the chase. The news reporter drops a clue that the 2 would-be muggers were once arrested for murder and released on a legal technicality. Batman tells Gordon to go along with the manhunt and act angrily while he works on the case. Batman, no way! The next morning, Jason Todd is talking about the newspaper, comparing Batman to Bernard Goetz and... Gets. And I completely missed that the first time. And Bruce gives Alfred the special job of calling the theatrical costume places in the city to see if they have any Batman costumes to rent. Like he ran out of his own. Later, Bruce is concerned that Jason might think that it's actually him killing these people, and I get that were reading comics, but the creators must have really thought their audience was a bunch of drooling morons. Just because, right before every single ad, there's a tiny blurb that tells you where the comic begins again. As if you'd be reading along and then suddenly hit an ad and be like, yep, I guess that's the end of the comic. Ironsword had the best name, and Fabio with Conan-esque sword starring box art, but I did not enjoy that game. Whereas the first Wizards and Warriors I still enjoy playing. Mario! God, what happened to Bowser and his turtles? Bruce gives Jason the moral lesson of the story, saying murder is the line they can't cross, and if they do, they'll become no better than the lice who snuff out human life that they fight. Jason insists that Batman has killed before, and what? Bruce flat out admits it. In self-defense, Jason. You're well aware that we play a dangerous game. So there you go, all those edgy takes and arguments about Batman having killed people and not being able to hold completely true to that golden rule of Batman doesn't kill. Your hot takes aren't hot. Collateral damage happens, but Batman definitely should not have a cannon on top of the Batmobile that he uses to shoot people he's chasing before running over box trucks. Woof, Bruce, that hair. Alfred shows up and tells Bruce that he's called all the shops and found that every single Batman costume has been stolen. Man, that's so silly. The fact that your image is so well known that costume shops are making accurate recreations of your superhero suit, I don't know how you do it. But I really love and prefer the idea of Batman as like the cryptid of Gotham City. He's a wraith or an urban legend that everybody fears and nobody has ever gotten a clear view of. Photos are blurry at best and more often faked. Maybe that's just residual from growing up with that '89 movie, and that's basically how the first half of it is. So Bruce shows up to the house of Howard Despon to talk about the Wayne Foundation's the Wayne Foundation's Victims Aid Program. Whew. I assume he's there because of the news report from earlier. He invites Bruce in and talks about his wife being murdered and the cop that helped him out by busting the murderers that walked on a technicality. I'm glad they're dead. Night falls. The body count rises. Gordon and Barnes investigate a murder at a local liquor store. Gordon tells Barnes he promised this random beardy guy an interview and gives him the details. Mr. Bubbles, bull. Was there ever an actual kid that wanted this guy shirt? I can't imagine anyone wearing this thing, even in the 80s.
My name is Mr. Bubble, and you can watch me pop.
Well, it's no Tecmo Bowl. Batman foiled the robbery and snapped the robber's neck before tossing him through the window for extra measure. Gordon tells Nikolai here that he recognizes the perpetrator from a fatal shooting the previous year, but he'd gotten off on a technicality. The case had been handed... Slow down. What you say, not how you say it. The case had been handled by a cop named Tommy Karma, who was too eager and broke too many rules on his way up to be the youngest detective in the city. Gordon gives him some more details as Beardy casually strips off his clothes, revealing those stupid ears again. Back in the cave, Jason Todd Robin is being annoying again, complaining that he can't go out on this one with Batman. The name is Robin, and danger is what my job's supposed to be about. That's my best Robin impression. Not danger, Jason. Justice. Let's not confuse the ends with the means. And obviously Jason still hasn't learned his lesson from before, and I'm starting to understand why the fans voted to kill him off. Tommy Karma's confusion about the ends and the means is what makes him a very dangerous man. Batman tells Robin the backstory of Tommy being the only eyewitness to mob shenanigans, and how they mistakenly blew up his wife and daughter instead of him. Batman patrols the city in the Batmobile, brooding over the facts of the case and hoping that it isn't a good cop gone bad that's impersonating him. He checks into Tommy's nighttime security workplace, where he finds out that he switched to the day shift, and bah! This guy's legs! Now you're playing with power. Bionic power! The Batman who knocks. Weird that he used the front door. Batman finds himself at Tommy's front door and is answered by Tommy's mother, who lets him in thinking that he's her son. She's been drinking and pleads with him to not be absorbed in the persona of Batman. She knows he admires him, even going so far as naming his girl Robin, but he's just not him. And then she passes out. He heads down to the basement, finding clippings from his earliest cases, and Batman is impressed that Tommy's been able to set up a poor man's substitute for the Batcave. He's also hoping that being confronted by the image of Batman, it'll knock loose Tommy's psychosis. Batman gets a clue from the wall and hard cut to Commissioner Gordon's, bell tower? Where the hell is this? It looks like Batman just burst through the floor. I guess he jumped through the window? He demands the location of someone called the Snuffer, a mob assassin who's due to testify before the grand jury. cut to the Snuffer in police custody, asking if he can be dealt into a card game when Batman bursts through the window, beating the snot out of the guard. He dangles the Snuffer out the window, who immediately starts vomiting out mob secrets when, collect the action, introducing Askroyd. The Snuffer is tossed out the window, who is saved at the last second by Batman? And what's going on? Here is our mystery within a mystery in this comic. I swear when I was a kid I colored on this page. Made those black smears with a crayon or something. Years later, I ended up with a second copy of this comic, and when I foolishly got rid of a bunch of comics before moving, I checked to see which copy was better before getting rid of it. It had the exact same black smears. I must have imagined it in a fever dream or something. It's only just now that I feel I can put this mystery to rest as to what I'm supposed to be seeing here. Just this minute, I found the page, no doubt color corrected, for a trade online, and it shows Batman dangling out the window. Anyway, it means nothing to you guys, but this one frame has been plaguing me for years. So Batman gently places the Snuffer on the ground and tells him about how disgusted he is that he had to save his life, and is promptly kicked in the back. Oh snap, this is what we've been waiting for. Glorious Batman on Batman action, then the stupid Jason Todd shows up. He distracts Tommy, who's having a moment recalling his daughter, with his stupid ears, and Batman lays him out with one punch. There are responsible parties this time around, and he tells Robin he's grateful, and Robin assumes that Tommy was pretty tough with his kickboxing and kung fu and background and blah blah blah. So dumb. But Batman tells him it was somehow hard to swing at him. After all, who am I but just another guy who thinks he's the Batman? I don't know if that's supposed to be some kind of lesson or something. Sure, if I think about it too hard, it'll break down, but it sounds nice. J.L. Garcia style guide, Blue Batman is the best Batman. Take no prisoners. TSR ad, and done. There's actually a follow-up with Tommy in the very next issue, but I'm not dealing with that. It basically deals with Tommy killing 2 prison guards when he hallucinates that they're the Joker and Two-Face, and it gives you the promise of more Batman fighting Batman action. There, it's 1 page. They fight. I showed you the best part. I love evil twin stories so much. Not so much the cliche storyline of mistaken identity and who do I shoot climax. Probably just the visual of a hero at war with himself. I get so jazzed by it. Look! This past weekend I went to a used bookstore and even came home with these. Bronze Age Swamp Thing 1 and 2. Number 2, he's fighting Swamp Thing! Love it. Maybe it's a better fight than this one was. Maybe my small brain was influenced at a young age by Superman 3 with Clark Kent fighting evil Superman in the junkyard. But I definitely remember the moment when I saw the cover to this comic and was forever changed by it. I've said it before, I don't know how the industry stuck with this model for so long. There have been so many stories told about Batman, and not every story can be The Dark Knight or Hush or Killing Joke. There has to be fillers, and some issues are the fillerest of the fillers. These issues were alright, but I don't believe Tommy ever came back to be a major villain. It's kind of fun whenever they are able to do that, years down the road, but I'm kind of rambling now. You never know what small thing is going to influence people in what ways, what they'll take with them into the future and even possibly pass along or down to the next generation. Comics should be about characters willing to do the right thing, make the right sacrifices, and serve as examples of good against evil. Life is ultimately short. Maybe it seems that way because I'm getting old. Shorter for some than others, and we should fill our stories with themes and messages to pass along information about what it is to be alive, to be human, and to help steer in a positive direction. The modern trend in entertainment is making everything grimdark, and frankly, I'm over it now. I want the journey to be darkest for the hero before the light at the end, but I don't want my hero to be a miserable asshole I don't like to hang out with. This is especially offensive in recent movies where the heroes of my childhood are treated as jerks, most likely to prop up the new heroes they're trying to give the new stories to, as if the hero's journey itself has become some kind of participation medal. What it shows is a lack of good writing by people who don't know what to do with aging heroes. I would argue that people don't have just one adventure in their lives and then they're put out to pasture. And who's to say how long it takes to fulfill a prophecy? As a person ages, they're faced with ever-changing challenges, and a good writer should be able to recognize those changes and be able to tell an entertaining story around them. There are 3 examples that I can think of dealing with this type of thing, and ironically 2 of them are Batman. One in Batman Beyond and one in Dark Knight Returns, where Bruce has developed a heart condition. Bruce Willis's character in Sin City had the same problem. As you get older, you develop problems and you learn to work around them. Just because I have a bad ankle doesn't mean I'm just gonna roll over and die in my 60s. Basically what I'm saying is you, Ryan Johnson and Lucasfilm, for what you did to Luke Skywalker. What did I learn from this comic? I guess that you're just allowed to blatantly trace backgrounds when you want to. That's still shit, but hey, whatever. I didn't really take away too much, except maybe that I need an evil twin in my story. Bum bum bum. Anyway, this was a weird one, but thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with a new old comic review. If you wouldn't mind, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.
Still, if it's a whooping you're a-wantin',